All right, ready to dive in. We're going deep on Naval Ravikant.
Oh, yeah.
His thoughts on wealth and happiness.
Big topics.
Huge.
Yeah. And we've got excerpts from the Almanack of Naval Ravikant
It's like a compilation of all his wisdom,
on those two biggies you mentioned.
wealth and happiness.
And what's really interesting is
Yeah,
Naval's insights come from so many different experiences.
he's done a lot.
He has. He's been a super successful entrepreneur,
Uh-huh.
a really savvy investor.
Yeah.
And it comes through. He's deeply into philosophy.
It's like he's like a modern-day Renaissance man.
Totally.
Right. And he doesn't hold back
No, he doesn't.
on his opinions about how to live a good life.
Like how to really do it.
Like, take his concept of specific knowledge
Uh-huh.
as the key to wealth.
Right.
It's not what you think.
It's definitely not your typical college degree.
No.
Think more like
Yeah.
finding that unique intersection of your talents, what you love to do.
What you're good at.
Yeah, and what the world actually needs.
Yeah.
It's like being the best Joe Rogan or Scott Adams you can be.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
That's intriguing.
It is.
Right. And it all ties into his whole philosophy on building wealth.
Yeah.
He's so adamant that it's a skill you develop,
Not just luck.
not luck at all.
Not at all.
He even laid out his principles
He did.
in a tweet storm.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Remember that.
Yeah.
We're going to unpack those for you.
Don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah.
And one of the key principles he emphasizes is leverage.
Oh, for sure.
Of course, there's the traditional kind of like
Yeah.
labor and capital, the
That's right.
basics, but he takes it further
He does. He really does.
and points to code and media
interest.
as tools to amplify your efforts.
This is where the modern world comes in.
In the modern world,
Yeah.
this is where things get really interesting.
For sure.
Okay, so let's break down some of those actionable nuggets
Right.
from that tweet storm.
I'm ready.
We're ready for this. Seek wealth, not just money or status.
Okay.
Own equity,
Like a piece of the pie.
like a piece of the business.
Yeah.
Instead of just trading your time for a paycheck,
Right.
play long-term games with long-term people.
So important.
This is huge.
It is.
Work as hard as you can,
Yeah.
but make sure you're working on the right thing.
Right.
With the right people.
With the right people.
Did I miss anything?
You got it all.
Okay, good.
But what I think is fascinating is how he emphasizes judgment.
Oh, yeah.
Even if you're following all those principles,
Mm-hmm.
it's your decision-making
Yeah.
that determines your success.
Ultimately,
Yeah.
it's not just about working hard.
No?
It's about making smart choices.
Exactly.
And the good news is he offers some insightful advice on how to sharpen that,
He does.
your judgment.
How to get better at making those decisions.
Right, because we're not born with perfect decision-making skills.
No.
He talks about using mental models
The mental models, yeah.
as tools to think more clearly.
I like to think of it like a mental toolkit
Ooh.
for different situations.
Always different situations.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Naval is a big fan of people like Nassim Taleb,
Oh, yeah.
who wrote The Black Swan,
The Black Swan. Uh-huh.
and good old Benjamin Franklin.
Good old Ben Franklin.
The idea is to gather these mental frameworks
Okay.
from different fields.
Different fields. Okay.
Microeconomics, game theory, psychology, you name it,
Wow.
to help you see the world more clearly
See the world more clearly.
and make better decisions.
So it's like having a...
It's like having a Swiss Army knife for your brain.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying instead of just reacting to things on autopilot,
Right.
you can use these mental models
Exactly.
to analyze situations from different angles
Yeah.
and choose the best course of action.
That's the goal.
That's powerful stuff.
It really is.
It is.
And remember that story Naval told
Mm.
about his run uphill heuristic?
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? When you're faced with two difficult choices,
Yeah.
choose the path that seems tougher in the short term.
Right.
It's all about avoiding that track
Yeah.
of delaying pain and discomfort,
Avoiding that
which often leads to bigger problems down the road.
down the road, right?
Yeah.
It's a great example
It is.
of a mental model in action.
In action, yeah.
It's like ripping off a Band-Aid.
Exactly.
It might sting for a second, but then it's over and done with. And
Yeah.
in the long run,
Right.
you're better off
Yeah.
for facing the challenge head on.
I like that.
Speaking of confronting reality,
Oh, yeah.
let's shift gears a bit.
Okay.
Talk about the big H,
The big one.
happiness.
Happiness.
And this is where Naval
Yeah.
gets really thought-provoking.
He does. He really does.
He has a pretty radical view on happiness.
He does.
He believes it's not something you find,
Right.
it's something you choose.
You choose it.
You mean it's not about achieving some external goal,
Right.
reaching some magical destination.
Nope. It's about an internal state of being.
It's all internal.
Exactly.
And the key to that state of being,
Yeah.
according to Naval,
Mm.
is finding peace.
Peace.
It's about calming the mind,
Okay.
accepting the things you can't control,
Mm.
and really being present in the moment.
Okay, so it's like he's saying,
Yeah,
happiness isn't about reaching the mountaintop.
I like that.
It's about enjoying the climb itself.
That's a really good way to put it.
But how do you actually choose happiness?
Yeah, right.
It sounds great in theory,
It does.
but doesn't our brain naturally tend to jump around?
It does. It really does.
Worrying about the past,
Uh-huh.
stressing about the future.
Always.
So how do you
Yeah, how do you actually train yourself
train yourself
to choose it?
to be more present? Yeah.
Well, Naval has some practical tips
Okay.
on how to cultivate that inner peace.
Inner peace.
One practice he swears by
Yeah.
is meditation.
Meditation. Okay.
And before you roll your eyes, I know what you're going to say.
And think, oh, that's not for me.
Yeah.
It's not about levitating
Yeah.
or becoming some Zen master.
No.
No, not at all.
It's more about...
It's about becoming aware of that constant chatter in your mind,
Okay.
that monkey mind.
Monkey mind, right?
Yeah, that's always jumping from one thought to the next.
Yeah. It never stops.
Meditation helps you recognize those thoughts
Okay.
and anxieties
Mm.
without letting them control you.
Take control.
It's about creating a space
Okay.
between you and your thoughts
Between you and your thoughts,
so you can choose how to respond.
instead of just reacting on autopilot.
Exactly.
So you're saying it's
Yes.
like training your mind
It is. It's like mental training.
to be more calm, focused,
Exactly.
which then allows you to experience
Right.
more happiness
More happiness and peace.
and peace.
Yeah, in your daily life.
In your daily life, that's the idea.
That's the idea.
But it's not just about mental practices.
No.
Naval is also a huge advocate for
He is.
taking care of your physical health.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
it does.
Prioritizing things like exercise
Exercise.
and eating healthy
Yeah,
can definitely have a positive impact.
absolutely.
On your mental health.
It's all connected.
It's all connected.
And he even talks about embracing death.
Embracing death.
Yeah,
I can see how people might react that way.
I can see that.
But is he saying that thinking about our own mortality can actually help us appreciate life more?
That's exactly it.
So it's like
Yeah.
a wake-up call
Yeah.
to stop wasting time
Stop wasting time.
on things that don't bring us joy, to
Right.
start living more intentionally.
That's the goal.
Right.
And this all ties into his belief in building systems for
Systems?
happiness.
So instead of saying, I'll be happy when I get that promotion, or I'll be happy when I buy that house,
Right.
it's about creating habits
Creating habits and routine.
and routines that support happiness
Support your happiness
on a daily basis.
every day.
Exactly.
Think of it like setting up your life to be a happiness factory.
A happiness factory,
Yeah.
like that.
Rather than constantly searching for that one winning lottery ticket.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a great analogy.
It is.
It's about creating an environment where happiness is more likely to flourish.
Yeah. Setting the stage.
So we've been talking a lot about Naval's philosophy on happiness,
Uh-huh.
but he also offers some practical advice on
Yeah.
how to actually live it.
How to put it into practice.
What are some of those tips that really resonated with you?
One that stuck with me is his emphasis on being present.
Being present.
You know, not dwelling on the past or worrying about the future.
Easier said than done.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Much easier said than done.
Our minds are practically wired for time travel,
Yeah, they are.
constantly jumping between memories and anxieties.
It's a constant battle.
So how do you actually train yourself to be more present? Any hacks from Naval that you found helpful?
He has a few.
Okay.
One is to constantly look for the positive
Look for the positive.
in every situation,
Okay.
even when things are tough.
Even when things are tough.
It's like training your brain to see the opportunity in every obstacle.
So instead of focusing on what's wrong,
Right.
you're actively searching for what's right,
Yeah.
what you can learn,
What you can learn.
what you can be grateful for.
Exactly.
That's a powerful shift in perspective.
It really is.
It is.
And another hack he uses is to question your desires.
Question your desires.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
Every time you find yourself wanting something,
Okay.
ask yourself,
Okay.
is this so important to me that I'll be unhappy unless I get it?
Ooh, that's a good one.
It is a good one.
Because most of the time the answer is probably no.
Probably not.
And when you realize that,
Yeah.
you can let go of a lot of unnecessary stress and anxiety.
So much stress.
It's like freeing yourself from those mental chains that keep you chasing after things that won't truly fulfill you.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And speaking of fulfillment,
Okay.
one of Naval's most powerful ideas
Yeah.
is the concept of escaping competition through authenticity.
Ah, yes.
This is where it gets really interesting.
This is where it gets good.
If you could become the best in the world at being you,
At being you.
what would that look like?
What would that look like?
It's like he's encouraging us to stop trying to fit in
Uh-huh.
to some predefined mold
Yeah.
and instead embrace our own unique path.
Embrace your own unique path. It makes sense.
It does.
Instead of trying to be a slightly better version of someone else,
Right.
why not focus on developing your own unique skills and passions?
That's where it's at.
That's where true fulfillment lies.
That's it.
It's like Naval is saying the key to both wealth and happiness
Yeah.
is to stop comparing ourselves to others
Such a good point.
and embrace our own individuality.
Embrace it.
Find that sweet spot where your specific knowledge, your passions, and the needs of the world intersect.
That's the sweet spot.
And when you do that,
And you find it.
you create something truly valuable
Absolutely.
that no one else can replicate.
You become irreplaceable.
You become irreplaceable
And in a world
in a world.
where it's so easy to get caught up in comparison and competition,
Oh, yeah.
that's a truly liberating message.
It really is.
It is.
So there you have it.
There you have it.
A deep dive into the mind of Naval Ravikant and his thoughts on wealth and happiness.
Two big topics.
From building specific knowledge to choosing happiness.
We covered a lot.
He's given us a lot to think about.
He has.
And more importantly, to put into practice.
The practice is key.
What I appreciate about Naval is that he's not just some guru preaching from on high.
No, not at all.
He's someone who's actually walked the path,
He's been there.
sharing what he's learned along the way.
He's been in the trenches.
Both his successes and his failures.
That's what makes it real.
Yeah. And his insights are surprisingly down to earth.
They are.
Even when he's talking about these complex philosophical ideas.
Right. He breaks it down.
He manages to distill these profound concepts
He does.
into simple, actionable principles
Well, I love that about him.
that anyone can apply.
Anyone.
If you're interested in exploring more of Naval's wisdom,
Oh,
I
yeah.
highly recommend checking out
You got to check it out.
The Almanack of Naval Ravikant.
It's so good.
It's a treasure trove of insights on living a richer, more meaningful life.
It really is.
Until next time,
Until next time.
keep diving deep.